we need to talk about dress standards. We're used to being in Western cultures, such as the US and Western Europe, where we can basically wear what we want. But much of the world, you can't do that or shouldn't do that. For example, in the Arab countries and in the Middle East, this part of the world, right in here, um, men should never wear shorts, except you can at some beaches, and you should always have long pants and shoes or sandals, long sleeve shirt, although you can get away with a more like shirt like this, but in some of the countries, but you're better off without embarrassing them. Even tourist men should wear clothes, a lot of clothes, more than what we're used to here. Now, women is another story. Each country that you're going to in the Middle East or in Asia has dress standards. And not that they will put you in jail necessarily if you don't do what they suggest or demand. You could be in some serious problems. I'll give you an example. My friend and I were in Yerevan in Armenia, and we were going to fly into Tehran, Iran. And we get there to check in, and all these people were there, and they looked just like Americans or Europeans. The women had nice curly hair and just wearing whatever they wanted, T-shirts and jeans and just whatever. But then I noticed at the gate, when we got to the gate, after clearing immigration and customs and everything, that the women weren't there, just all the men. And I asked my friend, who is Iranian, I said, what happened to the women? He said, oh, they had to go change clothes. I said, really? And then that hit me, because I'd been to Iran before. They were in the bathrooms changing clothes. When they came out, you would never have recognized one of the women. They all had dark pants on, clear to their ankles. They had the shoes on, and they had sort of a tunic that goes down at least to the mid thigh, and they had long sleeves. They had a scarf that went around their head. You could see their face, but that was it. You couldn't see any other skin. And they came out dressed like that. And I said, oh, that's sad. He said, well, they have to do it because that's the law. Now, I say that because tourist women must wear the same thing. One of my very good friends went on a tour of Iran, and they told her exactly what she had to bring and wear. And she did. And they were there 3 weeks in Iran. And she said she never really got comfortable with it because she's used to traveling with lighter clothes, wearing a shirt like this sometimes. But she said it's still fabulous. She would do it again in a heartbeat. So it's critical that you check with the country you're going to, if in doubt, because you don't want to get there because they won't let you stay. So as a result, it's really critical that you do check. Now, in swimsuits at beaches, now there are nude beaches in the world, and they don't care. But don't you go nude at a beach where they don't allow it, because that can be very catastrophic depending on which country you're in. So it's very important that you check on the clothes. Men, as I said, you can wear anything they want, basically. But you should, in certain more conservative countries, wear long sleeves, particularly in churches and when you visit a mosque, that kind of thing.
Do you have any stories of catastrophic consequences of people going nude when they should not?
The question was, do I have any stories or people suffered consequences because they went to a nude at a beach that they shouldn't have? Yes. Some of the, well, people think that the French can do anything they want, but there's some beaches that you can't. So I go around nude. The like Ile de Levant, which is in the Riviera, France, it's considered sort of a nudist island, sort of. But I went there just out of curiosity when I had never heard of it. So I went, took the ferry over to it. And no, they're dressed normally, pretty much, or in swimsuits, everywhere except maybe a couple of little beaches. And I said, why do they advertise that? That's no big deal. But some people would come up to the restaurant for lunch wearing a minimal, and they would say you can't wear that. You have to get something more on, and so that's. I mean, in some of the countries, you just don't dare. But the whole thing is, look what they're wearing at the beaches, and you wear the same thing. The local people, not tourists.
Right.
Be very prepared on shoes. When you go into mosques and churches and things, many of them require you to take your shoes off and you're in your stockings and socks. And many will give you little slippers to wear as you turn around. And be sure to wear them. And like in Russia, some of the palaces, they give you these. And one of the guys told me they have it because it's an easy way to keep the floors buffed. Have the tourists buff the floors as they're walking around these slippers. I think she was partially joking, but you have to do what they tell you to do or you don't go in. That's the end.